this offseason, and as usual with quarterbacks, the demand exceeds the supply. The entire NFC South is expected to be in the market for a new quarterback. The Jets, the Commanders, the Colts, the Texans. There are so many teams that need quarterbacks, which elevates the value of Carr. And that is why at some point this offseason, earlier rather than later, he is expected to be traded.
Who generated more talk about his future than Lamar Jackson? Because he's only 26 years old, because he enters this offseason without a contract. Now, the Ravens can franchise tag him exclusively for $45 million. That's a big number, certainly during the February to March window. But GM Eric DeCosta said he's sure that they can get a deal done. These things take time. He said they will act with Lamar's urgency, because Lamar represents himself. Is Lamar that urgent? You know, he was asked, DeCosta was, would you entertain trade offers at any point if you're not reaching a deal? He said, we're not going to talk about that at this point, Sam.
Yeah, that's what I love, because there's no leakers in this scenario, because he's the only guy to leak anything. Very interesting situation with Lamar. When we're talking Ravens, we got to go to Rex. You know this organization as well as anybody from your time there. You've always told us their mentality is right player, right price. When you look at Lamar Jackson right there, right now, do you think he's in Baltimore next year?
Oh, wow, Sam. I mean, I know this. He's the right player. Now, the right price. It's going to come down to it. I think, as crazy as this sounds, is I think he's going to be playing somewhere else next year. And I'll tell you why. Look, this organization, number one, they value draft capital like crazy. They really do. But the other thing is, too, we saw Marquise Brown last year get traded. They said the great things. You saw the great press conference Eric DeCosta, John Harbaugh had. All right? Well, they said similar things about Marquise Brown. They traded him for a first-round pick. How about Orlando Brown? Remember those?
Yeah.
They had great press conference about them too, right?
What happened to him?
Oh, he got traded, I think. First-round pick and then some. So, to me, and I get it, Brew is
You're talking
last
receiver,
night,
you're talking
I know, Brew, you said
tackle.
it.
This isn't a quarterback, Rex.
But the business model of this franchise, they do not extend past it. And that's where it's like, I think it comes down to the guaranteed money. If Baltimore's not comfortable putting that, more guaranteed money in it, they're not going to do it. And so that's why I think there's a real possibility that he's playing for somewhere else.
They're not desperate. Like you're saying,
No.
The Baltimore Ravens aren't. Listen, Lamar Jackson's one of the great players. I think one of the questions that the Ravens are asking themselves are his best years of football behind him or in front of him? And, that's debatable.
He's 26.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a huge fan. I've been a fan of his since he was in college. Huge fan. The question that they're asking themselves, though, is do we want to make him the highest paid player in all of football when he hasn't been available? This guy's, in the last 2 years, he's missed a ton of games. So I think for the team, they're trying to build an entire team. And Rex, it's interesting what you say, because you said this team is different. This organization is different than other teams. But it just takes one team to be completely desperate at the quarterback position and say, you know what, we would love to have the highest paid player.
Like who?
At the game.
Like who?
Like, to me,
multiple.
One of the things that I look at,
how many?
In trades, you look at who has this guy dominated in his career. The first name that comes to mind for me is the New York Jets. Lamar Jackson has never had a bad game against the New York Jets, has never lost to the New York Jets. The Jets, there's no coordinator right now. There's no clear quarterback right now. Why not the Jets? Why not the Dolphins?
Yeah.
He's played amazing against the Dolphins. Those two teams know better than anybody. Hey, you know what? There's not a high enough price when you can have one of the best players in the league.
And we know one thing is will teams do desperate things for quarterbacks?
We've seen that.
Absolutely, right. We'll give up 3 first-round picks to go get Trey Lance. We'll mortgage the future. We'll make a guaranteed contract for Deshaun Watson. And that's the whole thing. Now, first of all, do I believe Lamar Jackson is hurt, that he couldn't play? I think he could have played. And there's a part of me that is very upset at Lamar that put his whole team basically on hold, where you got veteran players saying, come on, Lamar, we're in the playoffs. Why don't you play with us? And we know you're going to be okay. Let's go. So there's a part of me that upset Lamar about this. But we have to understand, and I'm trying to understand, too, that this guy represents himself. So which makes it a little bit different, and he's thinking long-term with his future, which you have to understand. And now the bigger picture here, fellas, is this. Deshaun Watson got a fully guaranteed contract, okay? Lamar Jackson, I would assume, wants a fully guaranteed contract. And if he were to get one from a desperate team out there that's willing to give up multiple picks and give him a fully guaranteed contract, what would that do? That would open up the door to guaranteed contracts for us, for players. So then the other part of me says, go get it, Lamar, because this can help a lot of players in the future saying Deshaun got one, Lamar got one, now I want one. I want a fully guaranteed contract because now they're possible.
Man, go get your money. I said that at the beginning of the season, that it could end up biting the Baltimore Ravens later in the season. And what happened? It ended up happening. But let me talk about the Baltimore Ravens failing Lamar Jackson. I've said it over the last couple of years. I talked about his completion percentage. I talked about him not having no big-time wide receivers. Yes, Mark Andrews is a great tight end, but he works the middle of the field. When you look at this division, you look at the Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have pass catchers on the outside. Pickens and Johnson in Pittsburgh, Amari and Peoples in Cleveland, the big three in Cincinnati. So those two names, the Miami Dolphins and New York Jets, they got playmakers on the outside for a guy like Lamar Jackson. So wherever he goes, Rex, I would like to see Lamar Jackson with some playmakers to help him. You talked about him being hurt over the last couple of seasons. What did the Baltimore Ravens ask for Lamar Jackson? Everything and the kitchen sink. So there's a reason why, Matt.
No, I'm with you, but like he didn't get hurt on a running play. He got hurt on a passing play. But they've built the roster. Like they have a 300-pound fullback because they want to be the hammer, not the nail. It's a little bit of a two-way street, Randy. Like if you are a marquee wide receiver,
yes,
are you gonna sign? Are you wanting to go there? And it's not a slight on Lamar. It's a little bit like a slight on the style of play.
Like the system.
Do you want to catch 110
Well, Greg
balls?
Roman is gone. Maybe
that's what I was gonna say.
maybe the next offensive coordinator that Lamar Jackson can open up the offense for him. One thing about Greg Roman, you know, just like I do, run game heavy. So whoever his next offensive coordinator, Mac, maybe open him up because what is the game changing to? From a run league to a passing league?
But in fairness to Greg Roman and to Lamar, he was the MVP of the league. Those two guys.
So give him his money.
Just saying that they've built that offense, they built that roster in a way that, like, if I'm you tell me though, if I'm the big time free agent wide receiver, if I'm Devontae or if I'm some guy like that, where am I choosing to go?
He doesn't have a number one. So for him to get a number one, I can see if he had a 1A or 1B, and then you have another wide receiver to go where he already has weapons. But Lamar has never had a number one. Maybe he needs one. Then we'll see what type of quarterback.
I liked him with Marquise.
Yeah, and that was his close friend.
Well,
so that was a big deal.
Kid too got hurt this year.
Yeah.
So I just think it's going to be interesting because the one other thing that nobody really wants to talk about is running quarterbacks, athletic quarterbacks, all right, they get slower as they
He's still very young.
He's 26.
I know he's
26.
I love the guy. You know I love the guy.
He's got the number that's saying. You throw whatever you want to me in organizations. I just turned 26 because we've all been in negotiations. 30, you're 32,
well, and
you're
they're
31.
going to use these things against him. They're going to use a knee injury against a running quarterback in this scenario. They're going to use missing all these games against him in this. I mean, there are going to be some argument. I hate to be from the billionaire's perspective.
But that's the thing. Without an agent, when you're negotiating,
his agent, I can tell you that.
When you're negotiating your own,
that's enough.
All right.
I'm just saying, feelings could get hurt in the negotiating process.
Feelings are going to get hurt.
And then relationships get damaged a little bit.
Okay, but John Harbaugh said 200%, which actually makes me doubt the whole situation even more when someone says 200% sure he's coming back. We will talk about this much more, as I'm sure you can guess. We've got more coming on Countdown, though. There are two huge games today we're going to talk about. It's round 3 for the Giants and Eagles as the divisional rivals meet again. Before they face off, we're going all access with Jalen Hurts, legendary Philly QB.
I sit here and I think about, why do I play this game? Why do I work so hard? Regardless of the circumstance, I never feel like I'm out of the fight.
Welcome to my house, baby, take control now.
All right, can we name that QB?
Oh, that's Purdy.
That's
Purdy.
That's
Purdy, my guy.
That's Purdy last week. All right, I changed my game pick. Niners forever.
Oh, man.
I just changed my game
Trick
pick.
shot Saturday.
Niners are going to win it all. Baller.
Pre-game headquarters is brought to you by Domino's. Get a taste of variety when you order off the Domino's Mix and Match.